Hello guys, welcome back to Raging Loop. Last time, kind of a struggle convincing getting our werewolf teammates on board, but we did manage to broke a negotiation by promising to kill Yasunada and Yoshitsuru first, which does hinder our plans, but you gotta do what you gotta do. But before we could go for our first kill, Chami did the shield suicide play, making us lose our first kill. So yeah, we're going to see the aftermath of that. It also looks like off screen the werewolves have formulated a plan on how to act during the feast, which should be interesting. And yeah, let's just see where it goes from there. At the core of it was the fact that she was laughing. Uh-oh. Possessed Haru. That is not a human laugh. Was this the...
先ほどの茶番吹き出さぬよう必死でしたぞ。そして心外明神が弱まっておるとは、なんと痛快、なんと面白い。
At least they're amused.
神をも恐れぬとはこのことよな。
お前は
なんじゃ、得意の力とやらでカンパなさればよろしかろう。方便であっても貫き通せば誠になるやもしれませぬぞ。
お前はるちゃんなのか、それともなんだ狼つきなのか。
おやおやおやおやおや、貴様もつまらぬことを言いなさる。心外明神のやつはあの通り赤い霧の中に見られたであろう。
あんなものはまやかしだ。
Surely.
まやかしであろうが目に見える。貴様は何を見てこられたのか。この三峡に息吹世紀をこれほど受けて、町のお方はなお理解が及ばれぬか。神というものに何度落ちて何度地獄を見れば真実にたどり着けることかの。
教えてくれ。
Throwing away my shame and honor, I grabbed her by the shoulders and shook her.
あんたは何者なんだ。僕は一体どうなってる。この現象の本質は一体何なんだ。
殿方にすがられるのは悪い気もせぬが、この娘に嫌われますぞ。
はるちゃんとは違うのか。
Obviously not.
問われるばかりも退屈なれば。
Okay, at least I thought she was just gonna leave. We're getting something, a shred of truth.
見柱おる。
3? Hey, where did the voice acting go?
親子3人だって話だろ。
わかっておられぬな。心内明神など親子まとめて杵でついてこね回して作ったいびつな神よ。
So maybe Shanai isn't even like a real god, but just like an amalgamation of 3 gods kind of mixed together. Kind of what I forgot her name. Journalist was saying.
この三峡にはあと2柱。まあ1柱は取るに足らぬ死に体の神であるが、残る1柱が貴様の敵じゃ。
With that, she shoved my hands away.
暗く長き山のよとぎに 良きお方が来られたものよの。明晩またまみえようぞ、町のお方。
Hidoro dashed away and disappeared into the dark mist. I didn't hear a single sound after that. Well, that was weird. I don't know. Like, would anyone even know this lore? I feel like this is deep lore over, like, the people who, like, know the religion. Like, how do we properly investigate it? Just chatting with the possessed Haru's, like, the only way. I woke up feeling an overwhelming exhaustion. It was 5 in the morning at a time when Kanzo-san was already active. I wanted to sleep some more, but I couldn't let them suspect that I was a wolf based on the idea that I didn't get enough rest. That is true. That is a little bit of a handicap, huh? Or not a handicap, a disadvantage. Because you get to sleep less as a wolf. After returning here last night, I changed my clothes, wiped my body, and wondered how I was supposed to hide the costume parts. In the end, I hid it under some newspaper, which was very cartoonish. If the humans found it just like that, I'd feel like the butt of some bizarre joke. A part of me did hope that it would be gone by the time I woke up, though. Apparently you gotta hide it. Okay. I'd gone to sleep at 2 in the morning, and sure enough the costume was gone by the time I woke up. Well, of course it would be. If the costumes remained, you can easily find the wolves just by checking everyone's homes during the day. Okay, so that did actually disappear. That's crazy. Last time when I infiltrated Shami's room to mess with her guns, I hadn't seen anything like that. That's actually a great point. I didn't really think about that. Probably would have seen it if he was like, she'd probably like hid her guns, right? Also, if the humans found out there was something so artificial involved in the whole wolfing business, the Yomibito side of the story, that the monsters had transformed into humans, would have been rendered unbelievable. No matter how much the locals revered Yasumizu's legends, I felt like the feast wouldn't get anywhere without the fear caused by the idea that they were dealing with something supernatural. Actually, maybe Chiemi would know some of this ancient lore, like maybe her necklace has something to do with that. Maybe. And then, by proxy, that means Rikato might know some, because she it looked like she realized or knew something about the necklace. But Chiemi's dead, so can't really get any information out of her, at least. Was the thing I'd seen the first time Achi Yasunaga-kun or Tai-san wearing the wolf outfit? I'm pretty sure those are just the beasts of corruption, bro. Pretty sure. That didn't seem far off the mark. The mist and the darkness made the costumes look extremely convincing. Maybe that was Great Lord Shinai himself as he appeared in the red mist that one time. According to Haru-chan, that was a god, but there's three sides playing. Forget that. What was Haru-chan herself? How did she know about my looping? It actually seemed that she even knew about its cause. Possessed by the wolf, by the Ukami, by the great god? There are 3 gods, and that had nothing to do with the Ukami-sama being a group of 3. It's only a group of 3 because there's 3 wolves this time, though, so I never really thought 3 gods meant 3 of them. I'm sure in Yasunada's and Tai's thing, they only saw 2 wolves. Was Great Lord Shinai a tripartite god? And one of the other 2 was my enemy? What the hell was that supposed to mean? She'd given me a lot of information, but it was all vague and uncertain. Were there mysteries and legends I still didn't know about? That made most of my current investigation completely off the mark. Was I missing or misinterpreting something crucial about the info I already had? God. This made me want to rely on Mamiya-san, that's her name, Tai-san or Rikako-san's knowledge. But this time I was their enemy and had to kill them all. Though this time Mami-san was in a decent state, so I would ask her before I got rid of Hashimoto-san. She wouldn't know the true motives behind that. Why was Chimmy's face flashing through my mind every now and then? I went outside, intentionally avoided looking at the dorm, and headed to the plaza. Kanto-san and Takumi-san were already there, and they told me about Chimmy's death. No one else was missing. Okay, Yoshitsugu lived. Then all that blood was... Oh well, it didn't matter. As we waited in the plaza, we were eventually joined by Kaori-san. She seemed a lot better than yesterday. Had her mind stabilized a bit once she started looking at killing her sons in a positive manner?
食事の準備をしていましょうか。
ええ。
Yesterday, we agreed on 5 things. We would focus on information control and gathering, as in we would avoid having secret thoughts and instead try to listen in on any that the humans had. Smart. We would avoid talking about things we weren't supposed to, like the cause of Chimmy's death. Smart. Haru-chan would contribute to the feast once, then continue being as anti-elder and anti-outsider as possible. Smart. All good plays. Kaori-san would declare that she would follow Yasunada-kun's vote and do it even if he was voting for a wolf. Smart. Yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure I said this earlier. It's like the perfect cover. And finally, we would fate our guardians. However, I would be the first to act, and only from the 3rd day onwards. The plan was focused mostly on keeping them from looking suspicious or doing something they didn't have to. I was apprehensive about trying to get them to go wild like Chiemi did and have them kill more humans. After all, I didn't have the trust or charisma for that. Of course, my final goal was my own survival, not theirs. There would probably be situations in which I had to use them as human shields, or just situations where it was an option. But
ならないで。
I didn't want to become just a murderer. A situation where I, not Haru-chan or Kaori-san, was the one suspected was the best path to lead us to victory. Also, as an outsider, I had to gain their trust and make them certain I wouldn't betray them at this feast. And on top of all of that, I would survive. There had been many unexplained deaths during his turn, but there was no denial that he survived as a wolf. I thought about those deaths, especially Yoshitsugu-kun's and Mochi's. Oh, Yoshitsugu-kun's was easy, but Mochi's was a little tricky still. Don't have a clear answer. Could be, there's like 3 options, I think. Many times so far, but I couldn't really believe that Yasunada-kun was the one who organized them. He didn't get rid of his allies, and he stood up against Tai-san, even if not as blatantly as she had when she was human. Personally, I thought that was the right way to handle it. I had to prepare for anything while trying to make sure that all wolves survived. Anyway, I was silently preparing the food. By the time it was 7, everyone besides Chiemi had gathered in the dining hall. Yasunada-kun's face was pale. Apparently she committed suicide right in front of his room. Seeing that right after waking up certainly wasn't my idea of a good time. Especially when it was the girl you liked and respected. Mochi didn't seem too fazed by her death. He was too busy helping Yasunada-kun cope with it. As for Haru-chan...
いいちゃん、無理しないで。この椅子座って。座布団は毛布とかいる？
いや、いいよ。大丈夫。
もっち、元気の出る薬草とかないかな？おー。昼でも探すかな？
Yep, garlic will definitely do the trick.
昼？嫌よ、そんな気持ち悪い。
She was overdoing it. Wouldn't she appear unnatural? Wasn't she supposed to act even more shocked than Yasunada-kun? No, she's just a teenager. It's not like they're gonna be good at acting. Feeling uncomfortable about this, I continued preparing the food when Takumi-san spoke up.
もうみんな知ってるだろうが 昨日死人が出た。寄生してた千恵美が死んだ。
There's some silent noise. Tari-san mutters Chimi's name while I created a gloomy expression.
言った通りだったな。
そうか。俺はどうも奇妙だと思ってる。
あんな殺し方、人にできますかね。まるで獣のような。
Dumbass.
どうかされたんです織部さん。
いえ、この辺で人を襲うのはイノシシかツキノワグマだけ
Moon
ですけ
bears.
ど、まさかそんなのまで。
いや、そういうんじゃねえ。おやっさん、何か心当たりあるか。
ねえ。
That was the end of the exchange. Has she mastered blunder well? Making the wolves say things that only they could know was a good way for humans to find them out. Mochi had fallen for it last time, and there was no guarantee I wouldn't slip up while I taught. I had to make sure I didn't fall into the same situation as she did. But beasts? Badgers? Was her body attacked by the bringers of corruption afterward?
一応写真は撮ったのですけどね。
繰り返すが、外に出るとき消せよ、おっさん。
ええ、それが必要なら。とりあえず必要があればどうぞ。
You're chilling, aren't you?
繊細な方はおすすめしませんよ。食事。
絶対やめた方がいいです。
You could tell by expression that she'd seen it. She looked like she wouldn't touch food the whole day. Whether we looked or not didn't affect our chances of being found out, so I just raised my hand.
わしも。
You know you'd like to see it, you freaky old man. He and I were the only ones who looked at it. The others surely believed looking at it would do no good. What we got. I took a look at the back monitor of Hashimoto-san's camera, an expensive digital eye model from last year. Yeah, it was completely different from what I'd seen. It was actually pretty close to the results of the corruption I'd seen in the previous feasts. It was a mountain of chewed and torn up meat and bones. It made me nauseous, or at least I acted like it did. I was used to it at this point.
ひどいな。
おおおお、こりゃ狼じゃないの。
Ooh. He'd actually said something other than the wolf is coming and even asked something. He knows it, so I guess like because she broke the rule of going out, the corruption still like fucks her up even if she's dead. In response, Kanda-san just grunted, clearly displeased. He wanted to use this as evidence to hang the wolves in the feast, but there were some problems. One of them was that Shimi seemed to have died to the corruption. It didn't make sense.
じいちゃんは汚れを受けてしもうた。
はい。これは物意味の金を破られたのでしょう。でも知恵姉がそれを知らないわけないでしょ。知恵姉もお話は怖がってたんだから。はい。どうしてこんなことに。
僕に用があったのかな。だから僕の部屋の前に。
思い当たる件は
何も。なんなら避けられてると思ってたし。
What? Was the idea that she committed suicide about to be glossed over? Was it because they didn't find the gun? That would be... lying right now would be dangerous.
とにかく予想もしてねえことだ。飯食ったら片付けて、その後どうするか相談しねえと。
待ってください。私専門家じゃありませんけど、現場保存ってもの
Nah,
が
we
ある
don't
ん
do
じゃ。
that here. Gotta chuck it.
片付けないと不都合があるのですか。
俺らの感覚じゃな。犯人探しより今そこに転がってる死体を片付ける方がずっと大事なんだよ。
なるほど。
橋本さん、
言う通りにしよう。ああ、ムロさんと牧島さんがその片付けをなさるんですか？
ああ。
じゃあ僕と Q ちゃんで食堂周辺を見回っていましょう。皆さんは食堂からあまり遠くに出ないようにする。その方がよくありませんか？
おやっさん、どう思う？
Sounds smart. Keep everyone huddled up so no secret meetings happen or scheming.
でけえの猿だったな、お前。
ええ。
見回りは任せる。何でもいいから獲物持ってけ。
なるほど。わかりました。
Hashimoto-san pointed out the necessity for patrols, came out as a reliable volunteer, and became even more trustworthy. On the other hand, he was giving himself away to talk to Mamiya-san in secret. Was it his way of separating her, whose identity wasn't confirmed yet, from the rest of the group? Had to calm down. The first part of his move was obviously great, but I wasn't sure about the second one. Hashimoto-san was an active player, but I couldn't tell which of his actions were intentional and which were coincidence.
というわけで、食べられる人は朝ごはんを食べた方がいいでしょうね。僕はいただきたいな。いいです。
はい、もちろん。匠さんも大丈夫ですか？
お、香織さん、もちろんいただくよ。
本当に食べて大丈夫なのかね。
He had to say that now of all times.
ああ？何が言いて？私も別に不要な気遣いをしたくてしているわけではないがね。実際に人が死んだ。迷信に従って、そんな状況だからこそ、迷信ではなく、
Look at no, dude, he's sub. He's definitely the snake, man. He's taking the lead, like, in a different way.
何言ってんだてめえ、あ？まさかババアを疑ってんじゃねえだろうな。
まあ。
Unlike how he was so far, Kyonosuke sheets both those words without any sarcasm. Had he read the mood and chosen to become the resentable but not wrong kind of character? No, he wasn't that considerate.
義継やめろ。野里さんは今回正しい。
へばってんなら兄貴は黙ってろや。
母さん、味見はしたよね。
Something wasn't right here. Why was everyone so sharp so early in the game?
ええ、もちろん。
Good. Karia-san understood what they meant.
でも、もう一度いただいた方が良さそうね。
Nice, good job.
いえ、僕がいただきます。
This was my time. Everyone wanted to suspect me over anyone else, so I had to eat before they did. That was the only way to make them understand that I didn't add any poison to the food. Unfortunately for them, we weren't pulling anything like that this time. I tasted the food, then gave everyone a show of my rewashing the dishes, making them finally agree that the food was safe. We then had breakfast. Mami-san and Yasunari couldn't refuse, while Haru-chan ate quite a lot actually, and then Takumi-san and Kanjo-san left the dining hall.
それじゃあ、僕はこの周りをぐるぐる回って警戒しておきますね。危険な獣がいるかもしれないから、ここを離れない方がいいけど、閉じこもってばかりも体に毒だ。声の届く範囲で自由時間にしましょ
う。私も行くんですよね。
他に誰か行くかい？
Hmm?
うん。じゃあ、僕らだけで行こう。
I didn't understand what his final words meant. What if accepting the offer was the right choice?
片付けましょうか。
Well, couldn't choose, so we'll never know. This was my job, so this was the right thing for me to do, right? By the time we finished cleaning up, only 5 people were left in the dining hall.
ナムシない大権現。ナムシない大権現。
メイコ、髪が跳ねています。
Gotta brush your hair, Meiko.
うっせえ。
Tai-san was in her praying mode, where Tato-san was busy caring for Meiko, who seemed in a foul mood. Kiyonosuke-san seemed to want to call out to her, while Yoshitsugu-kun just seemed pissed. As per usual. The journals were outside, while Takumi-san, who returned for a moment, had left once again.
おやっさん、外の方を見て回るってよ。宴は昼過ぎにしようってことだが、なんかあるか？
Just like yesterday, no one argued. People needed reasons to not follow an already established process. Yasunari-kun was the one who pointed that out, and
分かったよ、匠。
he looked really drained.
ちっと話すか、安。
え？
春、近持ち、ちょっと安借りるぞ。夫妻子、香織さん、ちょっと俺ん家まで戻ってくる。
あ、了解です。
すみません。お気遣いを。
そんなんじゃねえさ。大丈夫か？
うん。大丈夫。
バカ野郎！昨日ああやって覚悟決めたんじゃねえかよ、兄貴！
よし。誰にだって弱みってのがあんだ。お前だって母ちゃんがいなくなったら。
True, we saw it.
いや、縁起でもねえ。忘れてくれ、香織さんも。
いいえ、私が言わなきゃならないことでした。
俺は覚悟してる。
Takumi-san and Yasunari-kun left.
はるちゃん、その辺でなんか積もっか。
あ、うん。
霧が怖かったりしない？
うん。もう平気よ。
Haru-chan, acting as weird as always, left alongside Mochi. This situation was clearly set up by Hashimoto-san. Everyone split up and were free to have secret taunts. What was the purpose of this? Was I just overthinking it? Were they just taking the opportunity given to them with no ulterior motives whatsoever?
ひとまずこれでよし。
I don't know. He's playing some 4D chess though. I'm scared.
まだお昼までは時間あるし。
This whole route has been scary for the wolves, man. We had no initiative at all.
休んでか。じゃあ僕もちょっと外に出てみましょうか。
みんな出て行ってしもうて。黄泉の霧は汚れの元なのにね。
ええ。だからちょっとみんなが心配で見てきます。
Now, how would a good wolf spend this strange time? I couldn't think of anything. Was I a dumbass? Well, I did have some ideas, but they all seemed like bad moves, traps basically. Could I eavesdrop on some secret chats? It worked when it was dark, but during the day, you could see anyone within a whopping few meters. Could I just join one of their conversations? Wasn't it best to just avoid secret chats in the first place? Was it normal for wolves to be so paranoid? A part of me couldn't help but suspect that Mochi or Hashimoto-san was hiding in this mist. I couldn't see or hear anyone, so my brain perceived this as this world is empty. Before the unease and loneliness took over, such situations made you feel all-powerful. No one would blame me for anything I did. I could lay down in the road, kill commando, shout out that I was a wolf, but all of that was just an illusion. Was this also some sort of trap to get a wolf to do something stupid? Or was this some sort of filter that caught those so paranoid that they actually believe stuff like that? Oh, crap. I just want to scream and run around. I wanted to do something no one else could predict. I looked up to the sky. And suddenly the ground vanished beneath my feet. What the? Ow. Basically, I walked over a small cliff. That's crazy. Jesus. Since I was unable and fell feet first, I ended up hitting my legs, ass, back, and head on the ground below. Even if there were no feet, someone could actually die in the mist by accident, and now I knew that better than ever. As I tried to get up, I felt an intense pain in my leg. Really rough times. Now we're a crippled wolf. This was so stupid. Also, the area below the plaza was clearly out of bounds, so I was breaking the rules here. Though this was an accident I hadn't planned myself, so I probably wouldn't draw any more suspicion than I already had. As I stood up, we really are just unlucky. I heard a voice behind my right side, and along with it, something metallic. I instantly raised my hands, but the pain that came over me made me groan. At least we're actually hurt, so it's not even cover, it's just the truth, so hopefully we'll be fine. I nearly fell to my knees out of pain, but I was afraid that he wouldn't tolerate any sudden movement, so I just slightly bent my body. It really was stupid. Another metallic sound followed by a few different ones. I had no idea what they meant, so it just became more tense. You're dead, bro. I slowly turned to the right. Kanzo-san now had his gun over his shoulder, not ready to fire. That let me finally relax, but my leg still hurt. I might have sprained it. To my surprise, he rested the gun in a more comfortable position, then came up to me, crouched, and let me his shoulder. Nice. He seemed much shorter than me, but that was probably an illusion caused by his posture. We were probably about equal in height. Also, his body was a whole lot more solid than mine. Every part touching me seemed to be covered in hard muscle. I wasn't too fond of the idea of being punched by this beast. Now that I thought about it, all the wolves so far were physical weaklings. They even needed guns to make it through a direct confrontation during the day. That is true. Good question. This wasn't like him either. He really didn't seem like the type of person to ask that kind of thing here, of all places, and from the person he trusted least.
皆さんから見れば僕なんじゃないですか。こんな時に外から来て素性も知れなくて。
てめえがうさんくさいのと狼かどうかは関係ねえ。
True. Shouldn't. Wolves are picked at random. Shouldn't look at people's like backgrounds or whatever. It's literally just random. A considerate response from him? Something wasn't right here. What was I to do here? I don't know. Just blame like someone people don't care about. Got it. Talk about Haru's love life. What are you talking about? Also, we don't have key 3. I know we don't have 20. That's been a big key for a lot of options. We don't have 3? We don't have 3. Okay. This is weird. The moment I said that, he stopped walking. It made me put more weight over my left leg, making me groan in pain.
ハルがどうした？
His drip seemed to become unnaturally stronger.
いえ、昨日あれだけ霧に怯えてたのに、今日はらしくないとは思いましたけど。
Damn, already throwing her under the bus. But we need her for lore.
しょうもない。
そうなんです。
女言うもんは男とこのためならこだわりを捨てる。
For a moment, that sounded like sexism, but I realized it could be interpreted as criticism of men who often clung to their biases no matter what. That aside, analyzing his words made it clear that Haru-chan's change was because of a man.
ああ、安永くんですか。はるちゃんは安永くんが好きなんでしょうか。
みな、そう言うとる。
Everyone's saying that, because it's pretty obvious. Everyone, huh? That was the countryside for you. Love stories had nowhere to hide. Poor Haru-chan.
でも安永くんはちえみちゃんが死んでショックなようでした。
Well, I mean, now he's open. On the bright side.
若いもんのすいたキロータは面倒なもんよ。いつの時代も変わらん。
He resumed walking. Basically, he was wary of any suspicions directed to his granddaughter because of some worthless childhood soap opera stuff. I could totally understand. The truth was that she was actually a wolf, and she was acting like that because she was overdoing the plan I'd set up, so the suspicions were completely right. In other words, those suspicions could fade even quicker if someone presented an even simpler story as an alternative.
実は僕もちえみちゃんのことが少し好きになり始めてたんです。霧が出る前ですけど、彼女に今お相手はいるのかって聞いたんですけど、どうやらいると。で、当然外の町の方にいるのかと聞いたら、そこは濁されて。ただ、どうやら相手に二股をかけられてるから別れようかなとか言ってまして。
Just created this weird drama. Okay, I get it with yes, obviously implying Yasunada and Haru-chan in this. What a sudden change.
本当か。
He gripped my arm really hard, and I, grimacing at the pain in my leg, looked straight into his wrinkly face. And now he's gonna hate Yasunada. It's good for us. Sowing some seeds of chaos.
彼女が本当のことを言っていたかは知りませんよ。それに、彼のこととはわかりません。違うかもだし。
After looking at nothing in particular, he turned away from me.
安永くんはいい子だと思いますよ。
He didn't give any sort of response. Alright. I just sown the seeds of malice. Yay, that's what I said. I used chaos instead, but same thing. Once I returned to the dining hall, Tai-san took a look at my injury.
やから外に出ん方がええって言ったのに。バカ。
すみません。本当に危ないですね。もうずっとおとなしくしておきます。
それがええわよ。
Tai-san brought a hand towel from the counter. The counter and skillfully bandaged my leg. She even put some weird leaves on my skin. Apparently they helped with sprains like this. She then took a wet towel and a plastic bag and applied it to the wound. It was a substitute for ice, and it worked better than you'd think. Despite this being a medical matter, Kiyonosuke, she refused to get involved. Orthopedics weren't his specialty, apparently, and he knows we're a wolf. The empty pride he displayed was saying that actually calmed me down. It was very like him.
お怪我は胸が痛みますが、大事がなくて何よりでした。
すみません。 ご心配をおかけして。
ねえ、ふさゆきさん、骨折？
難しい言葉を知ってるね。でもこれは捻挫。
Look at Meiko.
捻挫？
Screened.
ねんざ。
Close.
で、ら？
Closer. Was I that bad at talking?
痛いの？
うん。すごく痛いよ。
天罰ね。
Ooh. Tell him. Punishment? Did I hear that right?
ふさゆきさんに天罰。悪いことしたから。
Ooh.
濡れ衣だ。どうしたんです今日。
Watch out for angry Meiko, man. Don't wanna mess with her.
今日はどうして
She's just in a grumpy mood today. It's crazy. You've never seen
こ
angry
んな
Meiko.
調子で
Watch out in the feast, man. She might make some plays. She really did seem like she was in a bad mood. Had she seen something? I was worried for a moment, but Meiko didn't say anything more. She just continued being sulky. What was her deal? Mysterious Meiko. Eventually, everyone returned, and this ended up being nothing major. My injury was actually the biggest event. Some were worried, some picked on me, some scolded me for not being careful. Their reactions were varied, but it didn't look like anyone suspected me because of it. Yasunada-kun was in a better mood today. When Haru-chan and Mochi brought some foraged goods, he thanked them with a smile. Some garlic? There's a debate about whether we'd actually eat the stuff. Tai-san said something about the corrupt mist. Kionosuke considered the possibility of there being poison plants, etc., etc. We chopped it all up, put some sauce on it, and the volunteers, the children, Hashimoto-san, and the industrious food critic Mamiya-san ate up. Nothing happened, of course. Because of my injury, no one wanted to go outside anymore. An hour after lunch, Kanzo said it was time and we began the feast. We're gonna stop here. I know it's a little early, but I want to do the whole feast in one episode if possible. Good episode, though. Good episode. Some weird stuff with Haru. Angry Meiko. What does it mean, man? It's a bad omen for the wolves. We created this weird drama between Kanzo and Yasunada. It's going well so far, but I don't know. I'm also uneasy. The villagers seem way stronger than in the other route, so we might get cut. And it really sucks that Haruaki doesn't suspect Nosato at all, man. He even has the face. His face looks snakish, respectfully. He's the snake for sure. Unless, I mean, Meiko could be the snake and she investigated us and she knows we're a werewolf, but that would be weird because Ritaka would know we're a werewolf. But, I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't know. It's messy though, but we'll see what happens next time. Should be really fun.